He says he's one of the greatest social reformers of our time, but unfortunately he's also one of the world's worst fundraisers. That's how abortion rights advocate Bill Baird summed up the demise of his Reproductive Counseling Center in Boston today. Too much idealism, too little cash. Marcus Jones has more.
Bill Baird began to champion abortion rights 26 years ago in New York when, as a pharmaceutical representative, he encountered a woman at a hospital dying from the wounds of an illegal abortion. Since then, he has been one of the most outspoken advocates for what he calls reproductive freedom.
I was in a hospital in New York City, and I heard a woman scream. And like anybody else, I ran into the hallway, and I saw this woman covered with blood from the waist down with an 8-inch piece of coat hanger, and I caught her as she was slumping to the ground. And that woman died, and her only crime was in New York State, not only could she not get the abortion, she could not even get birth control. And that's why I began to challenge these laws, resulting in my going to prison 8 times in 5 states for speaking, just speaking, on the public's right to birth control and abortion.
In 1967, at the request of Boston University students, Baird came to town to speak in favor of contraceptive and abortion rights. But his illustration of how to use contraceptive devices got him thrown in jail, and the battle to win reproductive freedom through the courts kicked into high gear.
This is where it all began. Remember, 3 U.S. Supreme Court cases came out of Massachusetts that bear my name. Baird v. Eisenstadt is what gave the people of this state and across the country the right of privacy to birth control. Baird v. Bellotti 1 and Baird v. Bellotti 2 gave teenagers the right to abortions. These are historic, monumental cases, and it seems that everyone has forgotten of a pioneer who fought these cases, and they give their money now to the other groups instead of saying, gee, Bill Baird, let me help you survive.
Until today, Baird ran 3 reproductive counseling centers, 2 on Long Island, and 1 that occupied this Boston office. But back rent and utility bills totaling about $20,000 have forced Baird to close this nonprofit service, a closing he blames on poor fundraising and a lack of support from once reliable allies like Planned Parenthood.
Somehow the public sees fit to give its money to Planned Parenthood and to now, who sat on their rear end. While I was fighting these laws for so many years, they were saying the battle was over. I, who was in the streets and the courts fighting, suddenly now, millions of dollars are going to them, and I cannot afford to pay the rent. So it's a sad day.
Lots of people are raising money on this issue, and what we have found is that one person's contributions do not deter from another person's contributions. And so I don't think that we can accept any responsibility for the fact that we are fairly successful at fundraising, and he is not.
I'll be the first to admit I somehow cannot attract money people. Cannot kiss anybody's rear end. I've never done that. I figure there are people viewing this broadcast. If you believe in freedom, damn it, you write the check. You help. I'll do the fighting.
Despite the Boston closing, Baird's 2 New York clinics will remain open, at least for now. For the 10 o'clock news, I'm Marcus Jones.